So today's question is one that I wasn't expecting to be as entertaining as it was, but it ended up being one of my most entertaining ones as I was reading a few things. And the question was about prophecy. And the email from the parishioner said, so what's the deal with prophecy? Is this something I should be paying attention to? And so to start off on the series, like the quick short answer, yes. And I was looking up here in the catechism. So in the catechism, paragraph 2004, it addresses certain graces of state. And basically it just quotes St. Paul. And St. Paul says, having gifts that differ according to the grace given to us, let us use them. If prophecy, in proportion to our faith. If service, in our serving. Teaching, those who exhort, and exhortation, those who contribute, and liberality. Those who give aid and zeal, and those who act in mercy with cheerfulness. So he's basically breaking down some of the gifts, and he'll reference these different ones, but prophecy is one of them. So God gives us many gifts, many charisms, many different ways of building up his church. Each of us are different parts. And so prophecy sometimes can be legitimate, but there are times when people will use it to their advantage. And this is the part where I smile, because I happened to look up, Encyclopedia Britannica had the best online summary of some of these. And but it's not always the case that they're good prophecies. Sometimes people are just crazy, or sometimes people will use it to their advantage, which is the last one I'll read to you. But I was looking up some examples. For example, Johannes Stoffler predicted that there would be a worldwide flood wiping everything out on February 25th, 1524. So he was a German in the time of the 16th century, and things were kind of crazy anyway in the 16th century for Germans. And but he said the planets were going to align, and it would fall under Pisces. And so he said everything would be wiped out. But he invented so many people that the German nobles in the area band together and built a 3-story ark. And then you can guess what happened. I think they said on that day it was like partly cloudy and rained half the day. Poor guy. The other one I read was 1806. There was this one guy who was obsessed with that Christ was coming, and so then his hens started laying. This is in Leeds, England. Started laying eggs that said Christ is coming. The hen would, I don't say give birth. The hen would lay the egg, and it would have it written on there, and so people were freaking out and believing and all that jazz. And it come to find out, the hen would lay the egg, and he would write on there with this corrosive ink, Christ is coming, and then put it back in the hen and invite people over, and then the hen would lay the egg, and people would freak out. That's what we call taking advantage. Another fun one, Joanna Southcott predicted 1799 to 1800, and she had 100,000 believers behind her, that in 1814 she would give birth to the second Messiah. As a 64-year-old virgin, she said that's what would happen. Unfortunately, she died before all that came to pass. There are many cases where they predict a year. Man, we have guys in Florida and the Midwest, even since my short time I've been alive, that said they're either Christ reincarnate or there's a second coming. And then they have to recalculate. William Miller in 1831 had 100,000 followers and said there could be the second coming in 1843. It passed, and he said, I got the numbers wrong. It was really 1844. That passed. The most recent, Harold Camping, you might have heard, he makes predictions all the time. This one's kind of more obvious. But I think the most recent he said was May 21st, 2011, because it was 7,000 years after he calculated the flood. And so this would be the day it was all going to happen. Comes and goes. He recalculated the numbers. It was actually not right, so he kicked it back to October 21st. And unfortunately, that didn't work out for him either. You may know the Mayan calendar, 2012. That didn't work out. But my favorite, and I printed out this one from this again. This is Encyclopedia Britannica. Let's see if I can keep a straight face. So, this one was called The True Way, and this was a Taiwanese religious leader named Han Ming Chen who established Chen Tao, or the True Way. And it was a religious movement that blended elements of Christianity, Buddhism, UFO conspiracy theories, and Taiwanese folk religion. Chen preached that God would appear on U.S. television, Channel 18, on March 25th, 1988, to announce that he would descend to Earth the following week in the physical form identical to Chen. The following year, he prophesied millions of devil spirits, together with massive flooding, would result in a mass extinction of the human population. Followers could be spared, by buying their way aboard spaceships, disguised as clouds sent to rescue them. Yeah. So these are different kinds of prophecies that we try not to pay too much attention to. At the end of the day, people will use prophecy. Prophecy has its place, as St. Paul said. I'm so proud of myself, by the way, for making it through that without smiling. I had to practice that a few times because I lost it numerous times. But prophecy has its place. St. Paul talks about it. There are those who are given these mystical gifts in the church, and to the degree of their faith, the strength and power of it. We always vet those spirits. We always test them, and it's never made a universal revelation. It's never made something that you have to take part in. It's kind of like even the devotions to some of the Marian apparitions in the Catholic world. These are things that are placed out there for people to use as it supports their devotion or not. It's not made kind of mandatory. You have to believe that this is going to happen on this date at this time. Only the Father knows. As Jesus says, only the Father knows the time and date. So in the meantime, as we are here, we don't fear things like that because we give each day. We should live each day, each moment as if it was our last. That's the whole point of this. Each day we examine our conscience, we give it to the Lord, and that's why the Christians are the ones who don't live in fear, because there is something to come, and we constantly prepare ourselves for it. So if it's a good prophecy, good for them. If it's a crazy spaceship, clouds, got to buy your own cloud to get out of here, don't worry about it. Let them go their own way. All right, this is Ask Father. We'll see you next Friday.